This is me, Debbie, together with my sister Wendy. I was 1.5 years old when Wendy was born with Down syndrome. I remember her as a happy sister, actively talking and smiling. She often needed help, and I had to think about her needs first. That went without saying. As her only sister, I felt responsible for her at a young age. My sister went to regular elementary school with me up until the first grade. Things changed when I wanted to go to another school because I no longer felt comfortable there. The school made it clear that there would be no space left for Wendy if I decided to leave. My mother, Margriet, contacted the Inspectorate of Education and wrote an article for the Down Syndrome Foundation of the Netherlands. It couldn't change the situation. Our ways parted. I went to another elementary school. My sister changed to a school for children with learning disabilities. A moment I saw with my own eyes how the outside world looked at her. The real challenge for our family arose when I was 13 and Wendy was 12. She slipped into a depression and psychosis after her favorite teacher suddenly left. All of a sudden, she didn't seem to see us anymore and entered into her own world. A world in which her invisible friends became enemies. My parents struggled to find the right help and support. It seemed as though no one noticed that I struggled too. I felt powerless.
My afternoon dream when the world is sleeping, I am still thinking of my blue dream. It's bliss.
The psychosis left deep scars. The cheerful Wendy as I once knew her was no longer there. Her IQ dropped with 20 points. The many stories she used to tell as a child were substituted by silence. Her fears started ruling her life. Maybe she just needs some peace and quiet to get back to us, I thought. 15 years later, I'm starting to realize that this was an illusion. Often I have no idea what she's thinking. Her caregivers and even my parents are at their wits' ends. Who is Wendy, really?
Ben je niet ziek? Nee. Wat? Weet je het niet? Oh. Ja, dan weet ik het ook niet als jij het niet weet.
Oh, er komt iemand! Hallo Wendy, we hebben kaart. Kom je ook?
Ga maar binnen, Ben.
It is starting to get clear to me how much she looks up to me, how important I am to her. I especially noticed so during our holiday in December 2014. My mom and I decided to take her to Orlando, a trip with many firsts.
Het is voor haar de eerste keer dat ze mee gaat vliegen, dus ja.
Voor de zojuist ingestapte passagiers een hele goede ochtend en van harte welkom aan boord. U kunt dus stoelen.
The first time Wendy is getting on a large plane. The first time I do not cross the Atlantic Ocean by myself. And the first time in years that we're spending more than 2 weeks together.
I'd rather be, yeah.
Ja, dat is een nieuwe.
Ja.
Leuk hè? Ja. Is een nieuwe, leuk hè? Leuk. During the trip, my head is spinning from all the contradictions that I experience. Wendy's personality shines through in the pool and she suddenly talks for minutes. At home, she only says around 10 words a day. She's excited while visiting a giant American supermarket with us, a place of which I was afraid it would be too overwhelming for her. I see how she deliberately goes out of her comfort zone to copy what I'm doing. At the same time, I see Wendy battling her fears tremendously. Getting a bottle of Coke from the machine becomes an internal struggle.
Ga maar halen. Hé, ik ben toch hier? Hé, moet ik je even helpen? Wendy? Moet ik je even helpen? Hé.
Take my mind and take my pain.
I write a lot about my feelings. I also have fears. For example, what would happen if my parents were to pass away? That would make me responsible for my sister. And I would have to make decisions for her. Where she'll live, with whom, what she'll do during the day and at night. However, Wendy hardly ever opens up to me emotionally. How would I make decisions without knowing if I'm choosing the option Wendy prefers? During our trip, I experienced single-handedly what 24/7 care means and why my sister receives a high care budget from the government. She needs assistance with practically everything. A trip often feels like a work trip. How would I manage everything if later in life I'd have a job, my own family, and the care for Wendy weighing on my shoulders? What do all the changes in the healthcare system mean for my role as her only sister?
Thank you for your patience this evening. Jet Air would like to start boarding for flight number 624 with service to Amsterdam. We would like to begin with a passengers who will board.
After returning to the Netherlands, I make a decision. By the end of 2015, I want to be able to answer all the questions in my head. The footage from the trip to America makes me realize how much more I see when I videotape our interactions. How many details suddenly become visible. I've decided to capture the contact between Wendy and me in the coming months, and so I will follow her at her activity center, at home, with care providers, and family. I share fun moments, but also continue rolling as my sister is going through a second depression and psychosis.
Kom maar. Ja, geef maar een handje. Is niet eng, is niet eng.
The video footage will form the tool for roundtable discussions with all caregivers in her life, which I will organize in 2015. Together we're going to answer our questions. I want to share my story with the outside world. My struggles can hopefully be a source of recognition and inspiration for the 1 in 3 children born in a family with a care-intensive family member. Like me, these children have to find a healthy balance in their responsibilities as they mature. That's why I'm looking for help to get my story out there. An interested production company, a foundation with a shared vision, documentary makers with tips, and editors with time and experience can join me. Are you or do you know the person who will help me get my project along? Get into contact with me, or follow my search for my sister by liking my project on Facebook.
My afternoon dream when the world is sleeping, I am still thinking of my blue dream. It's bliss.